do we ever actually die? And if we do, what part of us dies?
That's actually a central question in Vedanta, in fact, in all kinds of spirituality. And I would say even to all human beings, it's a very deep question for us, because as human beings, we are acutely aware of our mortality. We can push it to the background of our thinking, but one day or the other, we are confronted when we especially see the death of a beloved person. We are somehow lifted up from our mundane quotidian life into something higher or something deeper when we are confronted with death of somebody, especially somebody you knew closely. Or when we see death on a huge scale, on TV or in the news. So this, we are confronted with it. Whether you are spiritual or philosophical, you're not, you're just living your life, but death is always present. Now, Vedanta says, like you said, we don't really die. It's just the opposite of what we commonly hold to be the one truth of our lives. We all think that whatever there is, maybe there's God, maybe there isn't, but I know for sure I'm going to die. And Vedanta says, you're not going to die. We are that reality which is beyond time and space, which is called Atman or Brahman, which does not change. And since it does not change, the change is something that happens within time. So if there's at all something beyond time, it won't change. If it doesn't change, it won't die. In fact, it gets even weirder. Vedanta will say that you actually were not even born. It's the body which is born, it's the body which ages, and it's the body which ultimately dies. Physically, it dissolves back into nature from which it came. But you, the conscious being, you don't die. Now, there is a little bit of a wrinkle here, a little a distinction to be understood. According to Vedanta, we, as this embodied being, this sentient being, we actually have these two aspects. One is, right now when we look into ourselves, thoughts, feelings, ideas, memories, desires, just the person that I am. I mean, this body is there, but the person I am is something that I feel directly within myself. So that's called this subtle body. The thoughts, feelings, emotions, the prana, the life forces, all of it, it's a package, it's called the subtle body. And that does not die with the death of the physical body. Often, little ambiguously in English, it's sometimes called the soul. So it's an immortal soul which comes in from past lives, takes this birth, and when this body dies, it goes on to future lives. And this is it's a belief, but it's a common belief across Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all the Indian religions, in fact. Even the Middle Eastern religions, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, Islam, they also believe in the immortal soul, that there is something that survives the death of the body. So all religions, starting from the most primitive ones, they believe there is something surviving the death of the body. And there's a second aspect to it. Vedanta says even this is not your real nature. You are actually beyond the subtle body. You are this limitless existence, consciousness place. So there are these three levels of our existence. The physical body, which is going to die. And the subtle body, which is not going to die. It's going to take up future bodies and will experience birth and death of those bodies. And beyond both of these, physical body and subtle body, is the Atman, consciousness, awareness, pure consciousness, pure being. So that's our real nature, and that's immortal.
So what, in your understanding, kind of happens during these near-death experiences?
Right. I mean, it's a terribly difficult experience, but in some sense, as you would agree, it's also a valuable experience. Right? It transformed your life, and I have heard of similar experiences from a number of people. There's this conference I went to, the theme was near-death experiences.
Oh, well,
so there were scholars who were talking about it. There were people who had actually had near-death experiences. This was in Dallas a few years ago. The Advaita Vedanta has a clear framework about this. And most of the spiritual systems of the world, they do. It's something that they know very well. So idea is this. We have a physical body, this one. This is the one which everybody can see. And this is the one which the doctor examines and tries to treat and cure. But we have a subtle body. And that's nothing esoteric or mysterious because we all feel it. We all feel emotions, ideas. We all have a personality, and there is prana. So the subtle body is there. In Vedanta, the technical terms for that is the pranamaya, the manomaya, the vijnanamaya, and the seed state called the anandamaya. So the pranamaya would be the vital body, and then the manomaya, the mental body, the intellectual body, vijnanamaya, and their seed state or causal state when they sort of curl up into a seed in deep sleep, for example, or at the point of the physical death. So now the idea is when the physical body can no longer support the subtle body, maybe it's too damaged or maybe it's dying, then the subtle body is supposed to physically leave the dying body. And this process is called utkramana. Utkramana means transmigration, leaving the arising out of, literally, arising out of and proceeding. Now, an interesting thing I read recently from a report from neuroscientists. One mystery it seems they are facing is that at the point of death, the dying brain actually becomes suddenly very active. You wouldn't expect that. An organ which is dying would start to deteriorate and finally give up, collapse. But they find this fMRI scans of the brain at the point of death. They show that there is sudden burst of activity, including, release of dopamine and other biochemicals in the brain, which are related to wellness. When you get a feeling of wellness, serotonin, dopamine, those are released, it seems. And this is a technical thing I don't understand, but I was just reading it. And various centers of the brain, it seems, they light up for no particular reason at all. It's like the centers related to memory, for example. You see, even you said, and many people who have had near-death experiences, they say, suddenly there's an onrush of all memories of the past. Suddenly they seem to come together. Now, what I'm guessing, it's only a guess. I was very surprised and delighted to see that report, because this is a kind of confirmation, a brain-level confirmation of an event taking place in the subtle body. So what Vedanta would say is happening is the subtle body is leaving this body. And what is happening in the brain are just the signs of that. It's, if you will, it's like a spacecraft, a rocket taking off. And, the support structures on the launch pad, they sort of fall apart and it releases the rocket. So something like that probably, I don't know. But Vedanta, the literature is full of such descriptions of what happens at the point of death, how the subtle body leaves the physical body. Now, and suppose the physical body is not quite dead and it can be revived, and so the subtle body is still linked to the physical body, then you would expect it to settle back again into the physical body. And I suspect that's what a near-death experience is.